first pick.
How's it going, guys? It's Tyler here on the clock here, partnered by Just Baseball. And we got a little bit of a treat coming in today. So we don't have Jared today, but we have Aaron Watson, right-handed pitcher from Trinity Christian Academy, who is, in my opinion, one of the best right-handed pitchers in the prep side and in this class. So, Aaron, how are you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
It's doing pretty good. So kind of just to start off the episode, we kind of let you kind of tell your tale of baseball. So kind of tell us about your journey and, what has gotten you to the point that you're at now.
Yeah, so I started playing baseball when I was 5 years old. I kind of got thrown into a little bit. My dad wanted one of my siblings to play baseball, and I happened to be the one who did it. And I kind of fell in love with it ever since. And I've been surrounded by a really good group of people my entire life, from the coaches to my parents, really, my great support system, my teammates. Just kind of growing up, I fell in love with it, and I've ran with it ever since. I was very fortunate to come to a really good high school surrounded by really good coaches, like I mentioned, with really good players, and they've pushed me to be better every single day. My parents as well, my brothers, everyone that's kind of been in my life has pushed me to be better every single day, and I'm very thankful for that.
Absolutely. And you talk about the team too, obviously. Trinity Christian is one of the top teams in the nation, and in my opinion, probably the top program in Florida. Talk about, the teammates you have around you and the coaching staff, Brady Harris, Ethan Wheeler, those guys how did they impact you as a person and also as a player on the field?
Yeah. So one main goal that we have here is to we let the scoreboard dictate itself. I mean, if you look at our lineup, we are a really good, really solid team. But one thing that we try and do is kind of leave that to itself. And we just try and be people first. We don't try and we come in the locker room and we're baseball players, but at the beginning of the day, we're friends, we're family, we're brothers. So one thing you mentioned is off the field. That's one thing we're very tight. It's kind of like a family. And those guys, especially, not even just them, but also all the other players we have here. There's so many names you could mention, but just being a family off the field first is kind of our biggest thing. And like I said, we let the score dictate itself. But yeah, we push each other on and off the field to become better men and better players. And I think it's one of the best things that's happened for not only me, but I think all of us surrounding.
I think that's a great mindset to have as a team too. Granted, this is 10 years ago, but I remember my cross country team in high school. We always try to do the same thing, push each other to be better people, better athletes. And granted, I'm sitting here in a chair, 10 years past my prime, but yeah, I feel like that impact definitely helps down the road, especially when you're, a high school student, kind of still trying to get into that adult life, if that makes sense. For sure.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So now to kind of move on, on the field stuff, last year, I remember you pitched at NHSI.
I did.
And that was, great outing to have. I think you struck out 7, I do believe. But you come to USA in the summer, and you look a lot better. You're up to 95 of a good slider. So kind of want to ask what kind of led to the velocity bump that you had? Was it kind of just a strength thing, or was there something else involved, mechanically?
Yeah. So I think the jump from the spring to the summer kind of just happened. It was very quick, to say the least. I think I finished the spring. I was up to 95 in our last game, but I think that jump was just kind of a mentality thing. I was very worried. I was going out there very worried to fail. That was my biggest thing. I feel like I had a lot of pressure on myself. And I kind of just learned that at the end of the day, it's baseball. People are going to fail, but you have to believe that you're the best player on the field. So that was kind of my thing, saying the jump from the NHSI, which I think I did perform very well in. But and then one thing was at the USA trials in the summer, I didn't feel like I belonged almost. That was kind of the thing. It was a wake-up call for me, realizing I am one of the best players in the country. And I kind of just had to go out there and believe it in myself. And it kind of all just came with a lot of mental work, a lot of preparing. And then obviously the physical side, I got a lot stronger. I started to eat a lot healthier. And then my mechanics became more sound, and I just became more fit with my body. And then I really just started to dial it in.
I got you. And with the 18U experience, is there any friendships you've taken away from that, or any key insight from the coaches that you still stick to this day?
Yeah. So actually, it was the first day that we went. It was all the pitchers. We got separated into a different group, and It was, I forget his name, but very, very renowned pitching coach who was he was one of the head directors at the USA team. And he gave us a plate, and it was a red, white, and a blue part. And the red was the inner half, the white was the middle, and the blue was the outer half. And he kind of just said that those are three different things that you want to attack. So the red, you want to dominate the red part. So you want to dominate the inner half of the plate, or the arm side part of the plate. The middle, you never want to miss there. So if you're missing there, you have to be intentional with it. You have to want to beat someone in the middle. And then the outer part of the plate was like, that's the one you have to own. Like, that's the one you really have to dominate 2 strikes or dominate the beginning of a count. So I've kind of just taken that into the end of my summer and then into my beginning of my spring season, kind of just being able to dominate the plate.
That's awesome. And I want to say it's either, I could be mistaken, it might be the Troy Hawkins. If not, it's Brad Penny, one of the two.
Yeah, I think it was Brad Penny.
Okay. So that's a great mind to kind of learn from too, because I know he didn't have like the greatest career, but it's still valuable experience. I think he was still an all-star too, if I'm not mistaken. So, I think the USA coaches are some of the best in the country. I'm kind of biased saying that since I see them all the time, but they're always cool people and always good to us. So the next thing I wanted to talk about was kind of going into the spring season. I know you had an outing against either IMG or another top program in Florida to kind of start the year. But how's the spring been going? Has there anything that you've kind of prioritized working on in your senior season to kind of get ready for what lies ahead?
Yeah. So I've had 2 outings thus far, and then my third one will actually be tomorrow night. So this year, one big thing that's been for me is kind of just dominating the strike zone. I know going out there that most of the time I'm going to beat another high school hitter. That just comes with preparation, my ability to manipulate the strike zone. And I know that what I can do on the mound is going to beat most high school hitters 7 or 8 times out of 10. So the biggest thing for me has just been very process oriented. So I've been very dialed in on my routine. I've been very dialed in the bullpen. And then kind of when I get on the real game mound, that's when the emotions kind of take over. The adrenaline starts rushing, and then I kind of just let it eat sometimes from there. And I really just like to have a set plan, a set goal. I really like to dominate the strike zone. That's been my biggest thing, is trying to get first pitch strikes and get ahead in counts. And I think it's been really working well for me.
That's good to hear. And best of luck tomorrow too, by the way,
Thank you.
For everything that goes on there. But also, I know you guys are going back to the HSI this year.
Yes, sir.
And, having been there before, having the experience, how big is that for you guys kind of going into that tournament with how big of a stage it is?
Yeah. Like you just said, we've been there before. So we're going to go in there. We're going to act like it. We're a year older now than we were last year. We have a lot more maturity, a lot more meat on our bones. So we're just gonna go. We're gonna go in there and just act like we've been there before. It's a big stage, like you said, but nothing we can't handle. We're gonna go in there and we're gonna be brothers first, and then we're just gonna let the scoreboard dictate itself.
Love that mentality, and obviously, with expectations going into that being the program that you guys are. Obviously, championships on the line, but what's the realistic goal for you personally to come out of that event from?
Personally, for me, it's just kind of just doing the best that I can, giving us the best chance I have to win, whether that's going 7 scoreless innings or whether that's going 5 innings of 1-run ball against a really competitive team. Is just doing the best thing that I can to help my team get the best chance to win and move on.
Love that right there. So kind of want to focus more now on the mental side of things, because that's something that Jared likes to dive into. But for you, what's been the biggest thing to prepare yourself mentally? Like you mentioned, having the emotions kind of overcome you once you touch the mound. What's your technique to kind of calm yourself down, cool the nerves, and really focus on the game itself?
Yeah. So I'm sure you guys know the name Brandon Geyer. He was a big league player for around 7-8 years, I believe. But since I signed with the University of Virginia, I'm able to take his mental health class online. So I took that this past, I think it was about 2 months ago I took that. It was 8 sessions, and that's been really beneficial for me. It was kind of just understanding that you just have to believe in yourself, and that's really the only thing that matters. So my biggest thing this year has been my breath and being able to breathe, because that's, like he says, that's the number one mental skill, is being able to breathe. So I wish I had my hat with me. I could show you the inside of it, but I've written so many mental cues on the inside of my hat So whenever things start to speed up, I kind of just take my hat off, look at it. I breathe. The biggest thing that he does is box breathing, and it's a 5 second intervals of breathing methods to just kind of slow your heart rate down, slow your blood pressure down. And I've been using that a lot recently. And like I said earlier, I kind of just go out there and want to dominate. So it is a little bit of it's kind of like his metaphor for it is like a lamb and a lion. Like you want to have the patience and the calmness of a lamb, but at the same time, you want to have the killer instinct of a lion. So that's what I've been kind of using this year.
I'm not gonna lie, I think I'm gonna take that for my own usage. To be honest, like,
Yeah, no, it's really good.
yeah. Did he also mention anything about how to avoid being hit by pitches? Because I know I think he holds like a yearly record now or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Did he ever kind of focus on that too? Kind of like not being afraid of being hit or anything like that?
Yeah, no, yeah, that's one of his biggest things is not being afraid of failure. I mean, that's one of his main points is just going out there and you have to want to beat them. So if they beat you with your best, but you have to go out there and attack them with your best every single time. If you get beat, you're beat with your best. So there's nothing you can do about it.
Absolutely. So, kind of moving forward from that, we're going to hit like a little bit of like a rapid fire session here. You're going to be put on the clock.
Got it.
Give you some questions here because I did hear that bell go off or alarm or something. So, kind of first thing that I want to go into here, the favorite. What is the best fast food place in Jacksonville?
One more time. He glitched out.
Oh, my bad. What's like the best place in Jacksonville to eat? Like, what's the best place to kind of go out and chill with friends?
Oh, Top Golf. I really love
Golf?
going to Top Golf.
Okay. Now to kind of bridge into that, any hobbies outside of baseball that you enjoy, like golf or anything like that?
Yeah, I love the golf.
How good of a golfer are we talking here?
I'm pretty solid. My handicap's around a 13, so I can go out there and hold
Okay.
my own.
Okay, so you're right on where I am. I'm like a 14. So
Yeah, I go out there and shoot an 86 and have some fun.
there we go. I like that. Kind of next thing to move into, if you could face one big leaguer right now, who would it be and why?
Cody Bellinger, because I saw a video on Twitter the other day of his 2-strike approach, and I really want to see how I could go against someone who battles the zone like that.
Okay. I'll be honest, having asked that question a million times, that's the first kind of response I've heard of someone wanting to see how their approach works.
Yeah, I just want to see if I could beat him.
I love that. Moving forward, if you had to build like your own rotation of active starting pitchers that you kind of, build your game upon, who would they be?
Yeah. So how many guys are we talking?
Kind of like a Mount Rushmore, so like 4.
Okay. So number one, I'd have to go Paul Skeens. I think every amateur pitcher looks up to Skeens. 2, I would have to go. I would say Jackson Jobe, just because he's a young electric arm. 3, I would go. I want to say Verlander, just because of his experience. I know he's kind of out of his prime a little bit, but just for his experience, his maturity. And then 4, to top it all off, I would go. Honestly, I'd go Emmanuel Clase, just kind of
Okay.
having that dog in him, just coming in the 9th inning and shutting it down.
I like that. I don't think we've actually ever gotten Class A in this for how
Yeah.
dominant he is too.
First time for everything.
Absolutely. So, got 2 more questions for you. If there is a walk-up song that you guys are allowed to have, what is that walk-up song for you to get onto the mound and get prepared for games?
My walk-up song will be Rocketeer. It kind of just, I don't know, it gets me in a good mood, a good, happy mood, and I kind of just want to go out there and have some fun.
I like that. And then if there's any like favorite at bat you've had in your career to this point, which at bat is that?
Oof, it's been a long time. My favorite at bat would be my 12U Cooperstown team. It was in our final game, actually, and I hit a home run in my last at bat at Cooperstown. So that would be my favorite one.
Okay, awesome. And then the toughest, hang on, trying to avoid myself from stuttering here. Favorite batter to have faced up to this point in time?
Ooh, my favorite is actually one of my teammates is probably Brady Harris.
Okay. Does he? I kind of want to see like a little battle here, but like, who owns who here?
It's actually pretty even. I'll be honest. It's either a ground out to the shortstop or a hit up the middle. So it's pretty even.
Okay. I mean, hey, as long as you keep him in the yard, it's all that matters.
Exactly. Yeah,
Cool.
he's
Well,
never gotten one off me. I'll admit that. He's never taken me out.
awesome. Well, Aaron, I thank you so much for coming on and spending some time with us, kind of talking about your play style and your game. I wish you nothing but success for the rest of the year, and I'm excited to see how you pitch and carry in a couple months.
Of course. Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
Of course.